everybody, Jason Burmis here, and this is not particularly a video that I wanted to do, but it's a video I felt like I had to do. Why? Well, let me say this. Just about every single person I know over the years that has shown interest in a lot of these things has contacted me. What do I mean? I mean friends that maybe I get a hold of once every couple of years, etc., etc. I get a text. Oh, the Navy's confirmed UFOs. What do you think about this, Burmis? Oh, the Navy, UFOs, aliens. And I went to a wedding on Saturday. And it was a progression, literally, of 3 out of like the 5 people, maybe even 4 out of the 5 people that I met from the time I was picked up. So the person that picked me up asked me about this. Then we got to Long Island. One of the other brothers that was using some of my camera gear, he asked me about this. When I got to the wedding, 2 out of the next, I think, 3 brothers that approached me within the first 5 to 10 minutes were asking, what do you think about this? Well, let me tell you, when that many people are bringing this up, and we're talking about UFOs here, and by the way, I'm not here to tell you whether or not alien life exists somewhere in the infinite universe. I've done a ton of research for 20 plus years on this subject. I was into this stuff well before any of my documentary films or parapolitics. And, you know, like many, the fantastic idea that there is some kind of alien presence not only out there but here on Earth is something that was fascinating to me, right? First I was like, no way, and then there was all this information that kind of leads you in that direction. But as I got older, as I matured more, as I was looking into more of the hard evidence exactly of what these things were, I realized that the more likely explanation is the vast majority of these sightings are military tech, black operations, and they are being tested. So let's go over some of this, and let's go over the big news that's everywhere. And again, this I don't know why this is big news. The Navy says those UFO videos are real, and here's Popular Mechanics, a publication I actually debated on the 5th anniversary of 9/11, a publication that didn't want to ask real questions about an event that was so blatantly in our face and instead smear those that would ask those questions, are promoting these videos. Now, I don't think these videos are fake. I never thought these videos were fake, but what are we actually looking at? Now, I'm not even going to go to the extreme version that someone like a Mick West at metabunk.org says, look, this is a bird and these are gimbal tricks. That could be true. But I do not think it is an isolated incident over the last 30 to 40 years that pilots in general, whether they be naval pilots or otherwise, have chased down UFOs. This is a fact. This is not new. This is not something that is just out of nowhere, okay? And here's the thing. Military craft have encountered these things and seen them and reported them. But these programs are obviously going to be what? Extremely compartmentalized. Let me give you an example. Do you think that everybody in the Navy, when they were trying to use these patents here with another propulsion system, Visick, we'll read that in a minute. Thank you so much for the super chat. When they have this other propulsion system right here, right? You take a look at this. This is an actual patent, a naval patent. And boy, it's got a triangular shape, and they even reference some of these quote-unquote gimbal vids. All right, and this is the Metro. But if you want to see the actual patent here, please go check it out. You can go check it out. There's also some other interesting patents that the Navy has put out there. But I've been somebody who's been talking about this, that the idea that rocket propulsion systems, literally technology from pre-World War II, is the only propulsion system we're using for space travel is absolutely ludicrous. It's insanity, and it's why in the public face, Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk, all these private ventures into space, are constantly failing. Visick says, will you look at all Ali Al-Abdiz passed. Mike Russell at Mike Russell at MMA is doing work on that. Totally different subject, but Ali Abdiz may or may not have terrorist connections pre 9/11, and he's also one of the managers, the main manager for Habib Nurmagomedov, among other fighters. If you don't think organized crime and martial arts, mixed martial arts are like this, and organized crime is an extension of these terror networks, then you're not paying attention. I'll check it out. I appreciate the heads up and the super chat. But let's get back to this. So here we have Navy patents for devices that obviously are not of a traditional nature. Here we have Navy video of these craft. I don't know. Do you think in some of these compartmentalized programs, Navy or otherwise, they're flying them and they want to see how they do against their current aircraft? And why would they tell those pilots? What do you think? They just, hey, everybody in the Navy, we've got this new technology. Hey, everybody. No. And we always talk about top secret documents. Right now, I want to talk about Annie Jacobson and her Area 51 book. I'm not a big fan of Vox, but I've read about half of this book. I need to finish it. I stopped and I've been reading all this other stuff, but I need to finish it. And in it, she talks about not only the creation of Area 51 through the Central Intelligence Agency as kind of this black site, right? But also the history of how they use these black sites through the Department of Atomic Energy to test on human beings. So they're kind of like these sub-projects at these black sites outside of propulsion systems that also get a nice cover from aliens. It's aliens! Meanwhile, more horrific shit is going down. Nick Waite's next-gen UAV, the question is, why all the subterfuge in creating the interaction between them and the pilots? Method of normalization? I think it's more than a method of normalization. I think it's a way to put disinformation out there and invoke kind of this, or incite kind of this hysteria among the public that this must be alien technology. And read Annie Jacobson's book. It more than likely is not alien technology. And going back to that top secret stuff, she seems to believe Robert Lazar, that he at least worked at a sub base, I believe it was S4, at Area 51, right? Well, she also talks about magic clearance. Now, I'm not saying the Majestic 12 or the magic documents that are out there are real, but it is interesting that I've never seen any magic eyes only documents that have been declassified, or at least read that, yet she's saying it's a real thing. So think about how much information is still being held from the public in that realm alone. So that brings me to Tom DeLonge and his To the Stars Academy here. Because, obviously he's the one pumping this out. You can go here, you can join. He's got this big team. And we're going to get into unidentified in a moment. And this man, Luis Elizondo, because he's somebody, A, who's either one of the biggest dupes out there, or B, he's one of these Mirage men I'm going to talk about. So let's continue down. And in particular, Elizondo here is being pushed. He led the U.S. government's top secret right? UFO program. I mean, when I hear that, first of all, top secret, ain't that top secret, right? And this guy was either somebody who they kind of led along and like, oh, yeah, no, it's aliens. It's aliens, Lewis, and he believes it, or he's a Mirage man. Now, the film Mirage Man is amazing because it shows you just one example of how they would use somebody who was concerned about UFOs, seeing real UFOs, because they're unidentified flying objects, but they're really just military black projects. But he thinks they're aliens. So what do? Well, they send in one of their agents to start working with him and giving him all this information. Richard Doty is his name. All right, so Richard Doty starts giving all this disinfo to the guy. The guy ends up going broke. He had quite a bit of money. He owned a huge business across the street, going insane. And all the while, he thinks he's working with, government agents to reveal the truth about ETs. Now, tell me that does not sound like what's going on with Tom DeLonge and Unidentified. Let me give you an example of Elizondo and how he talks Johnny nonsense. Okay, I didn't catch a lot of this. but obviously it's heavily produced and everything. It's got the spooky music, and it's shot in a way that's a little bit dark, and there's cut scenes, and everything's slow-mo and dramatic. Believe me, I know all these tricks. I'm kind of a little bit of a filmmaker. I get it. But what concerns me is when he's talking to DeLonge, all the words are over-exaggerated. What do I mean? Oh, I got this intel drop for you. What did he want to do? He wanted to talk about some of the articles that are out there of them acknowledging that these videos do exist and that they are military. They're real. Okay, say that. Don't say you have an intel dump. Say, hey, dude, you see these articles that are printed? But when you watch it and the interactions and how Tom's eyes are lighting up and how excited he was to talk to John Podesta in those emails about an alien presence, he's full board, man. And believe me, in order to make sure that the narrative goes a certain way, he is surrounded by military-industrial complex figures. And this Elizondo, he's either a useful idiot or he's part of that Mirage Men type operation. Now, what else other than UAVs and, the type of human experimentation that I just talked about could something like this be covering up? Well, to this day, a lot of people don't want to talk about this program because this is from 1983, this cover of Time magazine. But in the early 80s, Ronald Reagan was very, very open about weaponizing space and the Star Wars program. And remember, budget battles, and it failed, and it was such a bad program. It went away. Bullshit. You think that we didn't weaponize space in the 80s? Of course we did. Of course we did. And any type of vehicle that could get another nation state into space and then militarize it, not rocket ships that we can knock out, not satellites that everybody knows about, but black tech is a problem for us. So I would suggest people check out the Star Wars program, check out how Area 51 was started by Central Intelligence and compartmentalization, and check out the reality behind the majority of these UFO sightings. We're not talking about, other phenomenon like people being quote-unquote abducted, etc., etc. I'm talking about the evidence that's out there, that is in black and white, that is photographic, that is video, has never shown me that these things are from an extraterrestrial nature. Neil Swanson, $10 super chat. What's your thought on the moon landings? NASA erased the original footage, gave petrified wood to the Netherlands. The other rocks have man-made elements. All happened during the Nixon presidency. Neil, I don't want to make this a video about the moon landings, but I think that NASA is extremely deceptive. I think that everything you said right there is 100% correct. I think it's also the only large-scale technology other than nuclear that has never been replicated by another first nor second world to first world nation. And because of that, all of it is extremely highly suspect. I also want to point out that the International Space Station is such a joint effort now with Russia, China, and others that you really have to look at what's going on internationally in space. And in my opinion, it is more than likely that we've actually been probably well beyond the moon using technology that goes, again, beyond rocket ships and what NASA shows us. Remember, NASA, I recently just did a video on quantum computing and how NASA is in bed with quantum computing and Google, okay? So obviously, the things that are going on with NASA also supersede space travel. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs it up, share it with others. If you're new to this, join the Burmese Brigade. We're talking about important subjects of all natures. And you can see all of my documentary films, Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, and New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture for free on this channel in the playlist section. And by the way, guys, I'm doing 3 to 7 videos a day on various subject matter, Epstein, Nexium, and much more. And if you want to support me financially, $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me over at my GoFundMe. No Patreon, no Subscribe Star, no bonus content, no secrets I'm not sharing, just me being straight up with you, letting you know it's always been about right and wrong in this permanent state, this military-industrial complex, this technopoly that has grown, goes well beyond right and left politics and the bullshit paradigm that we're fed every single day. So I just want to say I love you guys. Continue to question every narrative out there, and I will see you on the flip side.